Howdy boys, it's MPC. In this video we're going to be going over the top 10 Benefactor vehicles in GTA Online. Now before we get into it, I do want to say that this is an opinion based ranking, so if you disagree with me, don't rail me in the comments, but if you do disagree with me, your opinion is just wrong, and some people just aren't born with good taste, and it's fine. Like, you know, that's kind of how the world works sometimes. It's not fair, so I'm just kidding. But anyway, let's hop into it. First up on our list is the Bruiser. This thing is pretty menacing looking, as you can tell. It comes equipped with multiple features, like the ram ramp, as you just saw right there. I'm a big fan of ram ramps in general in GTA because I grew up on like Hot Wheels and stuff, and a lot of the cars in that show do have ram ramps. Makes it very convenient for your driving. Unfortunately, this car, I don't know if it's because of the snow, but like sometimes when I'll ram into specific things like the Hummers, I'll kind of get like thrown off balance or whatever, and I can't tell if it's the height of this car or what, but so it is a little finicky sometimes, not as strong as like, you know, the ramp buggy or the big ramp truck that you get in the bunker cell missions. This thing also comes equipped with a 50 cal on the front, which is quite nice. Not the most effective weapon, but it's better than no weapons, and in addition you can toggle it off for your normal handguns, which is like such a nice feature that I wish things like the Night Shark had, because it's kind of annoying being locked into just one gun. This thing also comes equipped with proximity mines. As you can see, I just dropped one right there. I believe you can pick from a multitude of effects of what the proximity mine actually does. Mine is a slick mine. And then this thing also comes with a jump, which is pretty sick. It comes with multiple directional boosts as well, but I put the jump on mine because I think verticality is just a little more useful. This thing can already like clear its own path, you know, so I don't really see like the point in a directional one. Oh my god, that was really violent. There's also a ton of customization for this thing. The only reason I threw it at number 10 is because I don't use the arena war vehicles all that much. There's usually other militarized vehicles that catch my interest and I think are more useful than this one, as well as it not being that fast. It feels a little clunky to drive too because it's so long. It's a little slow to get up to speed, but other than that, you know, it's a pretty sick vehicle. Very personalizable, which is a feature that we always want to look for, and it comes with a lot of cool features. If you guys are interested in getting a Bruiser for yourself, you will need to first own an Arena War workshop, and then you'll have to get a Glendale and upgrade that within the Arena War workshop in order to turn it into a Bruiser. Unfortunately, the upgrade is pretty expensive at $1.6 million. And that doesn't even include the price of the Arena Workshop or the Glendale, so it's going to be a pretty hefty price tag, kind of depending on what your upgrades are and what you're aiming for, whether or not you the Arena Workshop. But it's still a pretty cool vehicle. It's really unique compared to a lot of the other things we have in the game. Next up on our list is the Benefactor Glendale. This is the base version of the Bruiser, and I think it looks so incredibly good. It kind of looks like something that Mr. Incredible would drive from The Incredibles. Like, I feel like this is his car. But, I think its beauty lies in the less is more approach. I don't think it tries to do anything extreme or extravagant. It's just kind of, like, simple and classy for an old car, you know? I think it's just really cool. It's fun to drive. It handles decently as well. I think it's something to do with the shape and the light placement as well on this car. It just looks really darn good. I like that you can add some roof rack options as well to make it a little more personalizable, because there's definitely several approaches. Unfortunately, this car has no spoiler, so the back end slides out like a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. There are cars that handle far worse and don't have spoilers either. So, very respectable car. If someone was whipping this in online, I would definitely acknowledge their drip. If you guys are interested in grabbing one of these yourselves, you can find it on Southern for $200,000, or you can get it for $150,000 if you've unlocked it as a sponsorship tier reward in the Arena Workshop. Another area you can find this car is just under the Arena Workshop. Same prices here as well, $200,000 and a trade price of $150,000. Next up on our list is the Benefactor Schafter V12, one of the best sounding cars in the game. In addition, this thing is a menace in a straight line. It has dominated the sedans class for a very, very long time. Has a lot more competition now, but it's still at the top, which is kind of insane because it's been out for so many years. This car is pretty straightforward, just a very fast four-door, looks pretty clean. The car is a little long, and that's probably the only issue I really have with it. It just feels I don't know, it just feels more like I'm driving a stick than a car. That's kind of the only thing, but it's a cool car. Sounds really good, as you guys can tell. This car was featured in my top 10 best sounding cars in GTA. If you guys haven't checked it out, you should check that out, because there's cars that sound better than this one, believe it or not. This car also does make for a pretty cool Mafia car if you black it out and whatnot. It's just got that that classy, dangerous look to it. So if you're looking to build a Mafia garage, I would definitely include one of these in there. There's also the Schwarzer and the turreted limo that look just like this thing. They all just vary in size a little bit, but I would say the Schafter V12 is the best performing out of all of them. So if you were to get one of them that kind of looks like this, and that's, you know, the look you were going for, I would grab this one. If you guys are interested in grabbing yourselves one of these, you can find it under the 4 Doors tab of Legendary Motorsport. You can get it either regular or armored. The regular one is 3 times as cheap at... Yo, what the f... As I was saying, the V12 regular is only $116,000. I don't really think it's worth upgrading to the armored version because there's far better armored vehicles in the game than this one. And the Schafter V12 is also really, really cheap because $100,000 by today's standards is not a whole lot of money. Next on our list is the Benefactor F1 car, which is the BR8. This thing is, oh my god. This thing is super fast, has a ton of traction, very, very fun to drive these things. The only thing is, like, you really cannot make contact with other cars, otherwise you'll spin out. I feel like the car does understeer just like a tiny, tiny bit. Why is it not doing it now? Oh yeah! Instant karma. This thing is so fast. I feel like it understeers a tiny bit in the corners, but overall it is still a very agile vehicle. It's very minor understeering. I think the fun part about the open wheel vehicles is the fact that they kind of just stick to the ground. It's like glue. It makes the driving experience really fun. And then in addition to that, I'm sure you guys have already seen, but if I tap E on keyboard, I'm not sure what button that is on controller, it will get a massive acceleration boost, which is really nice for those hairpin turns. The only reason why this car isn't higher on this list is because it is a one-seater, which sucks for playing with other people, because it's like, you know, you start a job or something and you're about to hop into the same car and it's like, oh, sorry, bro, you gotta get your own. But if you're a solo player, then I do think that the F1 cars are pretty beneficial, and Benefactor does have a very nice one. The brakes are also immaculate, by the way. That thing stops so fast. If you guys are interested in grabbing yourselves one of these, you can find all of the open wheel vehicles on the special tab of Legendary Motorsport. The BR8 is $3.4 million. Pretty hefty price tag, but it does provide a really good driving experience. Next on our list is the XLS. This thing is such a beautiful SUV. Oh my god, look at that. I think it looks incredibly good the way it just sits on its wheels. It doesn't look too bulky or anything. This was my OG like real estate car. Like I'm about to pull up to do some business. Like I'm gonna go buy a new property, doing like a little bit of RP before the RP thing really took off, you know. So I love this thing. I've had this car for so many years, and it's remained one of my favorite SUVs in the game. I just think it's so crisp looking, you know. It's so clean. It hurts me to scratch this thing, you know. As for the car's performance, it's like alright. I think it does okay racing wise in the SUVs class. It's not quite in the same league as the Astron or the Tauros, but it's still like decently fast, you know. My only gripe with this car is that it does understeer like a little bit, I feel like. But that's kind of only like when you really get it up to speed. It's almost good that the back end kicks out a little bit because that gives you more control. But if it doesn't do that, it does feel like the car understeers a tiny bit, and that's no fun. But overall, it's a great vehicle. It looks incredibly good, and is a little more of a niche pick than the Tauros, or if you're playing on console, the Astron HSW. If you guys are looking for where to find this vehicle, you can find it on the 4 Doors tab of Legendary Motorsport for $250,000. It's pretty cheap, but if you want to get the armored version, it's $500 grand. Similar to the Schafter V12, I don't really think getting the armored version is worth it because there's military vehicles with a lot better protection than the armor on these cars has to offer. It doesn't come with weapons or anything else either, so if you're gonna get an SUV, just get the good-looking SUV. Like, don't ruin it for yourself. Entering into our top 5, we have the Stirling GT. This thing is, oh my god, this thing is, first of all, sounds amazing. I think this is the best sounding vehicle in the game, tied with the XA21, because they have the same sound. my god, listen to that popcorn sputtering. Oh. But the Stirling has kind of just always been a classic. It's a very good looking car. I actually didn't really like it all that much before I customized it this way. I made it a little sportier looking with a race car build. But I just think it's super cool with like the tire on the back. It's got gold doors. It's just like, it sounds amazing. And it performs well too. I think within the sports classics category, it is in the top 5. It doesn't have the highest top speed or anything. It does still get outpaced a little bit by the cars that dominate that category, like the Turismo Classic and the Cheetah Classic, but it is a contender for sure. It's viable, so that's always nice. It looks and sounds amazing, and I think that's plenty of reason to give it a spot in the top 5. If you guys do like my customization, I do have a customization and review uploaded onto my channel of this exact build, so go check that out if you want to whip this in GTA Online. I would love to see some other people rocking this car. I think it does fly under a lot of people's radars due to how old it is, but it's really nice, and hopefully we get to see more of these in online. If you guys are interested in grabbing one of these for yourselves, you can find it under the 2-door tab of Legendary Motorsports for $1 million. This is a pretty sick vehicle, and I think if you customize it right and you like the way it looks, because I think it can look a little like, it could look a little like odd or like harder to appreciate, kind of more of like an acquired taste if you don't have it customized in a way that's appealing to you. But it sounds fantastic. It's always going to sound fantastic, always going to be one of the best sounding vehicles in the game. So if you're trying to find some music in the exhaust pipes, this one is for you. Up next on our list is another one of the best sounding cars in the game. This Benefactor, man, I'm telling you, they've got some sauce with their vehicles. It is the Mercedes-AMG, the Schlagen GT. This car is so sexy. I'm actually really disappointed that it's a sports car and not a supercar, because I think it would have made for a fantastic supercar, even though it's like, it's not all that fast. I'm saying they fumbled. Like, they could have had such a god tier vehicle with this thing. Maybe gotten a few more shark cards out of us if they just gave it, you know, like top tier performance, because everyone likes the Mercedes-AMG. Everyone was hyped for this thing to be in the game. I'm not going to say it was a letdown or anything, but it's just, maybe it's a little more mid than everyone was hoping for. But despite that, it sounds fantastic. And it looks really cool. It also does have quite a bit of customization, and I think those 3 reasons make it plenty deserving of its spot on this list. What the f***? She died from hitting me? That's what you get. That's what you get. If you guys are interested in grabbing yourselves one of these, you can find it under the 2 doors tab of Legendary Motorsports for $1.3 million. Not all that expensive, so if you guys are looking for a cool sporty looking car, has a lot of customization, and sounds fantastic, then I would totally grab one of these. Entering into our top 3, this vehicle may come as a surprise because it's not labeled as being a Benefactor vehicle. However, as you can see right there is the Benefactor logo on the front, and that is the Terrorbyte. Now the Terrorbyte has a ton of cool features, which is why it's so high on this list. The first of which is you can upgrade your Oppressor Mark II here, making it kind of like a must-have in today's meta, as well as a weapon workshop being able to be added in here. This is where you can upgrade all of your weapons into the Mark II variants, which make them far stronger than the originals. In addition, if you are working as a president or CEO, you can do a lot of resupplying right here. And then right over here, we have something really cool, which is a drone station that gets deployed from the Terrorbyte, and this can be used to either to shock, to boost, I can't catch up to that guy, and to detonate like a kamikaze. And that only has a recharge time of like a minute and a half or something. The Terrorbyte as a vehicle is not all that fantastic. It's kind of just a pretty armored truck. The Terrorbyte is one of the most armored vehicles in GTA Online, being able to withstand 34 rockets, which is pretty nuts. Behind the MOC, which is like 60 something, and the new Brigade 6x6 Acid Lab, which can withstand like 42. Not that the number really matters when you even get that high, because most vehicles in this game don't have that many rockets, or can like bully you that hard. I would say the only one that can tail you super easily is the Oppressor Mark II, and that only has 20. So the armor is pretty useful, but unfortunately there's no like weapons or anything on this thing without it being parked. If you guys don't have a Terrorbyte already, which I doubt is the case for most players who play GTA Online, because the Oppressor Mark II is like kind of a must-have for everyone. The minimum base cost is 1.375 million, and that does not include any of the upgrades, which will add a significant amount to the price, probably closer to $2 million. But it is a pretty useful vehicle, once again, mostly because of the utilities that it provides. I would probably say is one of the services that is more important to have than the other things in this list, because most of the other things in this list are just cars. If there are one vehicle I would say that like you should probably get, it's this one, even though it's more expensive. Unfortunately, it's not just like a quick grab, but you're paying for a lot of stuff, so it's pretty worth it. In second place, we have the Krieger, which is one of the best supercars in the game. Currently has been dominant for quite a while now, which I'm not entirely happy about, because personally I don't think the Krieger is a fantastic looking car. I did not care about the way it looked, and also I was turning this one into a race car, which is why it looks so ugly and has off-road tires. But you could not deny the performance of this car. It is incredibly fast. Not as fast in a straight line as the Torero, but it definitely handles the corners far better. It is one of the best options for stunt races if you guys are into doing those. This is my usual pick unless it's an extremely straight track like Plummet, for example. You know, this thing is great off the line, has fantastic handling, can keep its speed up in the corners, and has a viable top speed as well. So all reasons to get this thing, but if it's kind of just for driving in free mode, I think this thing is so ugly. And I personally wouldn't drive one of these myself. But if that's what you're into, you know, like, you do you, I guess. If you guys are interested in grabbing one of these, you can find it under the two-door section of Legendary Motorsports for almost $3 million. It's pretty expensive, but like, it's a really fast and well-performing car, so if that's what you're looking for, I would for sure grab a Krieger. Otherwise, if you're kind of just looking for like visual free mode aspects, there are better options out there. And the number one Benefactor vehicle in all of GTA Online is the LM87. This thing is a demon in the corners. It is literally glued to the ground. It's based on the Sauber Mercedes C9, which is an old race car, and it's reflected very well in-game with the LM87. Not a fantastic performance right now because it's snowing and this thing can't grip the ground nearly as well. But on a regular track without snow, this thing, it like does not slide out. It doesn't slide out or like lose speed in the corners. It's just disgusting how well this thing performs. These race cars aren't known for having the highest top speeds, similar to the RE7 and the S80RR. None of them have amazingly high top speeds. They all like to stick to the ground and handle very well in the corners. And of the three race cars that kind of look like this, the LM87 is the fastest, one of the fastest supercars in the game right now. And if you're on a track more like East Coast as opposed to Plummet, then I would for sure pick this one above the Torero. The brakes in this thing are also immaculate. Stopped on a dime. I just think these race cars, I'm very grateful to have them in the game because I think they look so cool. Like, it's just a nice shape. It's really beautiful. I'm a big fan of these older style race cars, and I think it's pretty cool that Benefactors is the best performing one in the game right now, and that is what puts it at the top of this list. The car also has a surprising amount of customization considering it's just a race car. The RE7B, which was the original race car that looked like this, did not have very much customization at all. No bodywork that you could do. It was kind of just like color wheels livery, similar to the other Cunning Stunts race cars. But this one has a ton of customization options and is once again the fastest supercar around a track. So I think it is quite deserving of the #1 spot. If you guys are interested in grabbing one of these, you can find it under the featured page of Legendary Motorsport at the time I'm recording this video for $2.9 million. Very worth it purchase in my opinion, because there's a lot of other things in this game that you can pay this much for and it doesn't even have all that much utility or usage. Once this gets taken off the featured page, you can probably find it under the two-door section because it has 2 doors. That's going to wrap it up for the top 10 Benefactor vehicles in GTA Online. Unfortunately, I'm not going to throw in an honorable mention because I didn't think that there were any Benefactor cars worth mentioning. I didn't really like the ones below the top 10, so no pantos or anything. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video, comment down below and let me know what you thought of my list or what you would have added, moved around, and that sort of thing. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. There will be more content like this coming out very, very soon. Another top 10 coming out tomorrow. We have 2 more top 10s for this top 10 week, so you guys can look forward to that. And that's about it. So take care, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace.